Hey, welcome back to AI and 5. I'm your host, Simon Chris. Joining me today is Sarah Kaur. Now, Sarah's a design thinking practitioner at CSIRO's Data 61 group. And I'm going to be chatting to Sarah about human-centered design principles in AI. Hi, Sarah, and thanks for joining me on AI and 5.
Hi, Simon. How you doing?
Yeah, doing really well, thank you. Going to jump right in. We've only got 5 minutes. Now, your field of speciality is really around human-centered design, particularly with AI, and you work there at CSIRO. Talk to us about the basics of how human-centered design influences AI.
So, like, we're seeing exponential kind of growth in the applications of AI now, but ultimately, AI is serving human needs, human goals, and that can be really expanded, holistically to nature and the environment and other systems that support us. And so, human-centered design research and development is really fundamental to helping AI be values aligned to the human goals, needs that we need to serve.
Okay, and is, there's kind of I think there's kind of two ways of looking at this. Are the tools that we're designing fit for humans? But I'm also seeing a lot of talk online about people being worried about how humanizing we're making AI, and are we actually just trying to imitate humans? What's your take on that?
Oh, I feel like that's a deep philosophical question.
It is.
Um, I guess the approach would be, what are the human needs, wants, desires, motivations for crafting an AI to be anthropomorphic in some way? Does it actually help us, I don't know, chat to it in a more trusted way? And what ultimate purpose does that serve? Is there a dark pattern where you're building trust where there shouldn't be trust because you kind of feel like you're chatting to someone who could be human? I don't know. It's all really nuanced, and I think the context is super important. But I like the way I talk to my AI pals is
Mhm.
always quite polite to say thank you, to say please.
Please and thank you. Yep.
Yeah, only because I do really want to grow up where I'm modeling that for like my son, for example, but I also hope to model or be part of a training data set that actually bakes in those very fundamental to me values of respect, whether that's for an AI bot or a fellow human.
Yeah, look, I say please in most of my prompts, but that's because I think one day the robots are coming to kill us, and I want to be remembered as the polite one.
I got
Um,
it.
on a serious note, though, I was talking in another AI in 5 around a similar topic, and there was a concern that we were designing AI systems that actually meant the humans were left with the crappy work
Mhm.
that AI couldn't do. We were just relegated to being a second pair of eyes and checking and things like that. Are you seeing that? How do we get around that? How's that playing in?
I definitely hear that concern and have seen lots of, I guess, reports and I'd say almost more anecdotes about the feelings of, say, folks in the workforce that have been augmented workflows with AI. And I think, again, we can come back to human-centered design and research to inform how humans in the loop, let's say,
Mm.
are actually factored in, because it doesn't have to be that we get relegated to being the second pair of eyes, or perhaps it's about going, hey, what is the complementary pairing of my intelligence and an AI intelligence? Where can I bring my humanness or my critical thinking, reasoning, creativity to the fore to complement the kind of raw output that particularly Gen AI is producing at the moment? So I'm actually really hopeful. I see it as an enabler of creativity and quality work rather than something that takes away. But again, this is all about understanding and evaluating the impact of AI systems on stakeholders, including colleagues in the workforce.
And if someone's just kind of starting out down that journey, because I know there's this big, huge fear in Australia of moving forward with AI, it's too big, it's too scary. If someone was just doing a small project, say they're putting AI in front of their knowledge system,
Mhm.
what's the best way to make sure that they keep some human-centered design principles in that?
I think a really good framework is assessing it against the Australia AI 8 ethics principles that we've got. So if you tackle them not as a checklist that you're ticking off at a surface level, but you take a human-centered design approach that actually allows you to connect with lots of people, and diversity is very important in terms of who you do research with. You're actually going to start your journey well. So you're thinking about foundational things like the safety and the security of the data, the appropriateness of the data sets that you're putting and potentially exposing to different cloud-based systems. But you're also thinking about, hey, at the point of introduction, how are you building trust? How are you perhaps alleviating the anxiety that someone's going to get replaced, quote unquote? How are you also tackling the questions that come up in a really nuanced way? Because often people will think of them, kind of repress them, like, oh, it's only a pilot. But that's the kind of thing that stops us from being able to see efficiencies deployed at scale. So there's more than one tip there. I don't think it's one tip trick, really.
No, that sounds to me like we've got another AI and 5 coming up, but we are at 5 minutes. Before I let you go, though, I love to ask everybody, what's your one tip for someone who's just starting out on their AI journey?
Okay, it's not going to be intuitive, but I would say please read this book, Data
Data
Feminism.
feminism. Okay, fantastic.
Came out of MIT Press. I, as a human-centered designer, have started to try and advocate for people to not only empathize with humans, but empathize with data, because that is increasingly how humans are being represented, particularly in AI systems. And this book talks a lot about feminist principles being applied to the data sets, and also about communities having a really active role to play, and how that can be facilitated by designers and researchers.
Wonderful. Well, I'll put a link to that book in the show notes. Sarah, thanks again for being a part of AI and 5.
Fabulous. Thank you, Simon.
Bye.